Breaking news. Police in KwaZulu-Natal have just shot and killed 4 suspects in a dramatic gun battle in Woodlands, south of Durban. Several others have been wounded and arrested, while a manhunt is underway for suspects who escaped. Authorities say the group was linked to serious business robberies. What exactly happened, and what does this mean for crime and security in the province? Here's the full breakdown. According to police, officers received information that as many as 16 suspects were gathered inside a property near a primary school in Woodlands. That detail alone raises serious concern. When heavily armed suspects are allegedly operating from a residential area close to a school, the potential risk to innocent people becomes very real. Police say that when officers entered the property, the suspects opened fire, and a gun battle followed. By the end of that exchange, 4 suspects had been shot and killed. Others were wounded while trying to escape. 8 arrests have been confirmed so far, including some of the injured, while at least 4 more suspects reportedly fled during the chaos. A manhunt is now underway. Authorities indicate that the suspects were wanted for serious crimes, including business robberies, particularly jewelry store robberies. That is significant because jewelry store robberies in this province are rarely isolated acts carried out by individuals. They are often linked to organized criminal groups that plan carefully, move quickly, and use temporary hideouts to avoid detection. When police estimate that up to 16 suspects were gathered in one location, that suggests coordination and structured, not random criminal activity. It points to a group operating with planning and purpose. The property itself appears to have been a residential house, possibly used as a rental or short-term accommodation. A woman believed to be a housekeeper was inside and is being questioned. There is no indication at this stage that she is linked to the suspects, but the use of rental-style properties has become a known tactic among criminal networks. These groups move frequently, avoid staying long in one place, and use ordinary neighborhoods to blend in. That makes detection more difficult and increases the risk to nearby residents. The immediate consequence of this shootout is clear: a suspected robbery group has been disrupted. If they were planning further crimes, those plans have been halted, at least for now. But the deeper question is whether this operation has dismantled a wider network or merely interrupted one cell within a larger structure. Organized crime rarely disappears overnight. When members are arrested or killed, replacements often emerge. Networks shift locations, adjust strategies, and continue operating unless leadership and supply chains are fully dismantled. For residents of Woodlands, the impact is personal and immediate. Gunfire in a residential neighborhood creates fear and uncertainty. Reports indicate that wounded suspects attempted to flee through surrounding streets before being intercepted. That means the danger extended beyond the property itself. Community members came outside to see what was happening, which shows how close this violence came to ordinary daily life. The fact that no police officers have been reported injured is significant, but the presence of heavy gunfire near homes and a school highlights how volatile these confrontations can be. This incident also fits into a broader pattern seen in KwaZulu-Natal over the past few years. There have been multiple high-profile shootouts between police and suspects linked to armed robberies, including jewelry store and cash-in-transit heists. These operations often end in fatal exchanges of gunfire, reflecting both the level of firepower criminals possess and the aggressive response strategy adopted by law enforcement when acting on intelligence. The recurrence of such incidents suggests that while police are actively targeting these groups, the underlying networks remain persistent. Another important aspect is the role of intelligence. Police say they acted on a tip-off. That implies information flow, possibly from community members or surveillance operations. Effective intelligence is critical in preventing planned robberies, but it also underscores the tension within communities where criminal groups may attempt to intimidate residents into silence. Whether this tip-off leads to broader investigations will determine how impactful this operation ultimately becomes. There are still many unanswered questions. The identities of the deceased and arrested suspects have not yet been released. It is not clear how long they had been operating from that property, whether weapons recovered at the scene are linked to previous crimes, or whether additional arrests are imminent. Police leadership is expected to provide further updates, and forensic teams are processing the scene. For the broader region, this event sends two strong signals. One is that police are actively pursuing organized robbery groups and are prepared to act decisively when confronted with armed resistance. The other is that organized criminal activity remains embedded enough to operate within residential communities. Public confidence in safety depends on what follows next. If this investigation leads to uncovering larger networks and preventing future robberies, it may strengthen trust in law enforcement efforts. If it proves to be a single isolated disruption, concerns about recurring armed confrontations may continue. 4 suspects are dead, several are in custody, and others are being hunted. A neighborhood has been shaken. A criminal operation has been interrupted. But the real measure of tonight's events will not only be in the arrests made, it will be in whether this marks the weakening of a broader network or simply another chapter in KwaZulu-Natal's ongoing struggle against organized violent crime. We will continue to monitor developments and bring you verified updates as this story unfolds.